This is Algebra 1, Unit 8, Lesson 5, Stretching Parabolas and More Completing the Square. This is Part 2. We're going to finish up the notes talking about completing the square when you have a leading coefficient that's greater than 1. Okay, so here we have complete the square to write each quadratic in vertex form, y equals ax minus h squared plus k. Identify the turning point and tell whether it's a maximum or minimum. Okay, so remember, since the leading coefficient is greater than 1, we have to divide it out first. So we're going to divide by 5, and that gives me y over 5 is equal to x squared plus 4x, and then 23 divided by 5 is 4.6. Okay, don't worry, it's a decimal, that's okay. All right, now once you've got this to be a 1, now you want to complete the square. So we've got to move the c term. So we minus the 4.6 and put it over here. So y over 5 minus 4.6 is equal to x squared plus 4x. Okay, now here's the complete the square part. You take half the b term and square it. This is the b term because it's the x term. Half of that would be 2, and then we have to square it. So and then we're going to add it over here as well. So that gives me y over 5 minus 4.6 plus 2 squared is 4 equals x squared plus 4x plus 4. Okay, combine my terms here. Negative 4.6 plus 4 gives me y over 5, and negative 4.6 plus 4 gives me negative 0.6. I'll put the 0 on it so we can see the decimal. Okay, so negative 0.6. And then over here, x squared plus 4x plus 4 is what perfect square trinomial? All right, remember, your perfect square trinomial comes from this here. So this is actually going to be x plus 2 quantity squared. Okay, now we have to move the 0.6 back to the other side. Add the c term back. And that gives me y over 5 equals x plus 2 quantity squared plus 0.6. Now we have to get this back to be y instead of y over 5. So we have to remultiply the 5. Remultiply the 5 here, and then remultiply the 5 here. And that gives me y, because these 5's cancel out, equals, the 5's got to distribute to the front of the parentheses. That becomes our leading coefficient. And then 0.6 times 5 is 3. So this is going to be plus 3. So now that we've got that, we have y equals ax minus h squared plus k. What's my vertex going to be? Well, my vertex is going to be opposite sign here is going to be negative 2. Same sign here is going to be at 3. And the leading coefficient tells us whether it's a max or minimum. So which way does this open? If this is a 5, this is going to open up. If it opens up, the vertex is it opens up like this, the vertex is going to be a minimum. Okay. Now, if you want to verify that this is the correct equation, you can use Desmos or you can use the graphing calculator, either one. Let me put Desmos up here. All right, so let's put the original equation in. Y equals, go down here, y equals 5x squared, 5x squared, plus 20x plus 23, plus 20x plus 23. There's my equation. Now if I put in the completed the square version, y equals 5 parenthesis x plus 2 quantity squared plus 3. All right, so that's what we end up with. Did we end up with the same equation? Let's see. There we go. All right, so there's the original equation. There's the new equation. They match perfectly. You can see one goes right on top of the other, so they matched up perfectly. So that is the correct equation, and we can see our vertex is at negative 2, 3. Negative 2, 3, there's our vertex. We can see it right there. Okay, so let's try another one. Y equals negative 2x squared plus 4x plus 7. Okay. Now, first thing we have to do is get rid of the leading coefficient. We want it to be 1, not negative 2. So we have to divide everything by negative 2. So that gives me y over negative 2 is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3.5. 7 divided by negative 2 is negative 3.5. All right, our next step is to move the c term. This is the c term. So we have to add 3.5 to both sides. So that gives me y over negative 2 plus 3.5 equals x squared minus 2x. Okay, now we have to take half of the b term and square it. This is the b term. The b term is negative 2, so half of negative 2 will be negative 1. We want to square that and add it to both sides. Now negative 1 squared will be positive 1. So this is y over negative 2 plus 3.5 plus 1 is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 1. Okay, combine your terms over here. 3.5 plus 1 is 4.5. All right, and then x squared minus 2x plus 1 will be my perfect square trinomial. Remember, it matches this. It's going to be x minus 1 quantity squared. All right, move the 4.5 back to the other side. I have to go up here, I think. That gives me y over negative 2 is equal to x minus 1 quantity squared minus 4.5. All right, then I have to remultiply the negative 2. So I'm going to multiply this by negative 2 and then multiply this whole side by negative 2. Remember, the negative 2's got to distribute. These negative 2's cancel out, leaving just y. That's what I wanted. The negative 2 goes to the front of the parentheses here, becomes our leading coefficient. And then negative 2 times negative 4.5, negative times a negative is a positive, and 4.5 times 2 is 9. All right, so there is our equation that we have. All right, so what's my vertex? The vertex is going to be same sign, or it's going to be opposite sign, same sign. So this one is minus 1, so this is actually going to be 1 and 9. All right, which way does this open? Well, according to the leading coefficient, this is negative, so it's going to open down. It opens down. It looks like this. So the vertex is going to be a minimum or a maximum? Well, the vertex would be up here, so it would be a maximum. Okay, let's do a couple. Okay, this one we have to throw in a messy one, just so you can see that it doesn't always come out to be nice, even numbers. All right, so the first thing we have to do is get rid of the leading coefficient, so we have to divide by 6. Divide everything by 6. So that gives me y over 6 is equal to x squared minus 4x, and then 14 divided by 6, if I do that in my calculator, 14 divided by 6 is, repeating decimal, so I have to make that a fraction. Math, enter, enter, is 7 over 3. Okay, so plus 7 over 3. We'll have to just play with the fractions. All right, so we have to move the 7/3 the other side because that's the c term. So we're going to minus 7/3 here and minus 7/3 here. So that gives me y over 6 minus 7/3 is equal to x squared minus 4x. Okay, now we want to complete the square. Half the b term, negative 4 is the b term, half of that would be negative 2, and you want to square that. So we're going to add negative 2 squared to both sides. That gives me y over 6 plus, minus 7/3 plus 4 is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 4. Okay, you may need your calculator for this. Negative 7/3 plus 4. All right, I know it's going to be a fraction, so I'm going to leave it as a fraction. Negative 7/3 plus 4 is 5/3. Okay, so y over 6 plus 5/3 is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 4 is what perfect square? Well, it's going to be, this is minus 2, so it's going to be x minus 2 squared. I go down a little bit here. All right, then we have to move the 5/3 back to the other side. Y over 6 is equal to x minus 2 quantity squared minus 5/3. All right, and then we have to remultiply by 6 on both sides. So this cancels out, leaving just y. The 6 distributes to the front and to this. So we have 6 times x minus 2 quantity squared. And then I want negative 5/3 times 6. Negative 5 divided by 3 times 6 comes out to be negative 10. So negative 10 will be this here. And that gives me my equation. All right, so there's my equation in vertex form. All right, so what is my vertex? The vertex on this one, opposite sign, same sign. 2, negative 10 will be my vertex. Okay, and since the leading coefficient is 6, which way does it open? It's going to open up like this, so the vertex will be a minimum. Okay. Last one. Let's see if we have time for this one. Now, this one is actually pretty simple because y equals negative x squared minus 12x minus 33. What's my leading coefficient? It's actually negative 1, so we just divide by negative 1 on this one. It's tempting to just do the completing the square, but the negative is going to throw you off. So y over negative 1 equals x squared plus 12x plus 33. But basically, it just changes the signs. Subtract the 33. Y over negative 1 minus 33 equals x squared plus 12x. That should be a minus. Sorry about that. There. Okay, now, to complete the square here, I have to take half of the b term, which is the 12, and square it. So half of 12 is 6, and then I want to square it, and I got to do that on both sides. So y over negative 1 minus 33 plus 36 is equal to x squared plus 12x plus 36. Combine your terms. Y over negative 1. Negative 33 plus 36 is 3. And then x squared plus 12x plus 36 is x plus 6 squared. Okay, move the 3 back to the other side. Okay, and then remultiply by negative 1. And that gives me y equals, the negative 1 distributes to the front and to here, watch your signs, negative 1, x plus 6 quantity squared, plus 3. So there's my equation in vertex form. So what is my vertex? Okay, remember it's opposite sign, negative 6, same sign, 3. Well, the leading coefficient's negative 1, so which way is it going to open? It's going to open down. Okay, it opens down like this. So the vertex is going to be a maximum because it's the highest point of the vertex, of the parabola. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's some practice on completing the square.